We are live from Nubian Human in the Anacostia Arts Center in historic Anacostia, Southeast Washington, D.C. And this is the Neighborish livecast. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Super Dave, a.k.a. Mr. Incredible.
Super.
And with me, as always, is D.C.'s native son.
Hey.
The SC3 representative.
Hey.
Jason. What's up,
Hello.
brother?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, brother?
Doing good, man. I don't have any complaints.
That's what's
and
up, man.
you know, we continuing our trend of great shows.
Oh, I see a notebook pop out.
Right. And so what's happening is I like doing the notebook better because it frees me up to take comments on the live on my phone.
Okay. Oh, yeah. That's smart. Though. You always ate you.
Well, you know, I do what I can.
Mm-hmm.
I try. You know, so we continuing our. This is all about you.
Are those notes about me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't let you see it.
Stalker Dave.
It's terrible. So we continuing our trend of having great shows. Our guest today is actually I don't want to go as far as to say one of my favorite people, but I thoroughly enjoy conversing with her.
Thank you, Dave.
And it's pretty dope, and you guys are going to see. She's an accomplished author. Yeah, she and a advocate for. Wait a minute.
Don't be making this shit up either.
I know.
Yeah, I'm making it up.
That's what it sounds like he's about to do.
That's not what it really says here. It says all the bad
I was
stuff.
about to say.
But accomplished author and an advocate for continuous self-reflection, self-awareness, and self-love. These themes
That
are
sounds about
constant
right.
throughout her literary works. You can find her 3 books, and I have them here.
Oh, he got
man.
Dave don't be playing no games out here in these streets. Pull them out, Dave.
Yeah. I'm doing. Yeah, I got you.
Look.
Because you're you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Dave.
You the only one to get this treatment here. So
he's lying.
Loving inward,
I know.
living outward, and looking forward.
Yep. It's his favorite one.
Critically acclaimed.
You like this?
Open your mind before you open your legs. And the follow-up to that one, open your mind before you open your mouth. You can find all of these books on Amazon. The author is here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, Brittney Pressley is in the building.
What up?
So glad to have her here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Jason.
Thank you so much for coming through and kicking it with us. We haven't seen you since we were on the other show.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah.
Well, we not talk about
It's
that.
a long. Yeah, I'll tell you after that. We got it.
all
We'll
right.
talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. Let's skip that. But we got a lot to talk about. Like I said, I always enjoy conversing with you. We got to talk about your journey, your books, what you're doing now, and all that. But first, there's a lot of things going on in the city, in the country, in the world that we need to talk about.
Oh yeah, what's going on, Dave?
And we're gonna talk about it right now.
Let's do it.
I wanna it's been a lot. Like last week, I was saying, it's not really anything going on. Why did I say that?
Man, what will 1 week will do?
Yeah, because it's a lot going on now. So I'm gonna start it's a lot of heavy stuff too, and that kind of it's things that we need to talk about. But I tried to balance it with some not so heavy stuff. But I do have to start off talking about the Greenway Cookout. On 33rd Saturday night into Sunday morning with the shooting that happened. About 20 people got shot. One person did pass away from that shooting. And the crazy thing about it, not that the shooting itself isn't crazy, but the whole vibe of the cookout is done every year by the guy who runs the Eat clothing line.
Oh, that was Malik joint?
Yeah.
Because I heard he was doing a cookout. It was that joint.
He called it 33rd and Eat.
Oh, man.
And it was right there. And, there was a ton of people there. It was successful all day long. It was peaceful. It was calm. They closed up. From what I'm hearing, they closed up around 11:30, and people were just kind of hanging out. You know how people do.
Yep.
And it was a bunch of a lot of people still left hanging around. And after that, I don't know whether it was an altercation or just somebody tripping, but somebody came through shooting, and about 20 people at the last count got hit, and then the one gentleman passed away. He was 17 years old.
And he had a son.
And he had a 1-year-old son.
That's crazy.
So and it's there's been a lot of talk and about the violence in DC. And a lot of the negative things that have been going on, and a lot of people have been impassioned. Jay and I, before the show, were talking about an Instagram post from one of DC's biggest names, G from Backyard Band, and he put up I think it was 2 posts back to back, right? Because the first one was before it happened, and it was just an impassioned plea. I guess he's been seeing all the stuff that's been going on, and he was really heartbroken. and you could see it, and almost coming to tears, just pleading with the youngest to put the guns down, pleading with like the older people to get out there and interact with these kids. He said they need hugs, they need love, and then after this thing happened, he came back to Instagram, and it was pretty much a lot of the same, but even more. There was more of a sense of urgency to it. Just seeing, this latest shooting. Man, he was talking about, because he's such a big figure in the area, people reach out to him constantly, and he said he's been seeing a lot of mothers reaching out to him. We got to do something. I lost my son, I lost my daughter, I lost my nephew. Just people losing family members and stuff. And it was, the post was extremely heartfelt. I could tell that it was coming from a place of somebody who's really just tired of seeing young people taking each other's lives. And I know the conversation that Jay and I had, he had an interesting take on that whole situation. And what were you saying, Jay?
Well, I because I didn't even watch the entire Big G joint, because as soon as he started voicing his position, I felt his pain. Like, I empathized immediately. But then I also could recall in the past, specifically with Backyard, Red Essence, and What Band, me pleading with the bands to like, can y'all please add like a little bit of positive, because I go to the go-go for like spiritual upliftment, because there's a certain frequency with the drums, with the percussion, like the pocket beats, the congos. So it's like I go for like a spiritual vibe, a frequency, but all the music, my whole life I've been going to the go-go since I've been a teenager, and all of the content is always shoot a nigga in the head, and for the women, shake your ass, get drunk, turn up. And it's like, it's hard for me to focus and get what I need, so I kind of have to I have to phase out the words and what they're saying and just focus in on the rhythms and the vibrations and the frequency. And I've verbally approached all of those bands like, please, can y'all please, like, even if it's not a song, like, do like a chant, you know what I'm saying, that's positive, that will give me some type of upliftment. And the argument is like, well, the people come to hear this. Like, the people want to get drunk. The people want to shake their ass. And all of the songs like guns and busting niggas and fucking niggas over and all of that shit. And it's like, for me, some of the most important people in Washington, D.C. culture are the program directors for WPGC and WKYS and go-go bands. Like, they are more important to the culture of the youth than the mayor or the ANCs or the any politicians, like, because they have the grasp of the hearts, minds, and spirits of the community of DC. But I've been pleading for years, like, please just do a positive chant, like anything positive. And so to be so angry and so upset and not acknowledge, how scientifically music has an effect on the human psyche, and that affects the culture. Like, so if all the music that is being played is derogatory and about death and about demeaning women, and then that's what you see, it's very contradictory to have this position of peace and stop the violence. But every third song is like about the gun, is about busting a nigga head, or is about, because even I remember in G's post, he was talking about, like, man, we calling women out their name, but like, that's all I hear at the show, like the whole night. And so it's just weird for people to not see that connection of the music of our culture and then the outcome of how our culture operates. So it's weird to well, it's not weird, but hopefully it's just being highlighted now.
Yeah. Well, because the lifestyle is what reflects the music. Then the music just perpetuates the same lifestyle over.
Right.
So it needs the break has to be. You're saying the break should be in music.
Well, I mean, because the thing is, it's like, I don't ask them to change their music.
Yeah.
I specifically I give them the reason I come to the go-go is for spiritual upliftment. Like, there's no other frequency on planet Earth that is that of a go-go pocket. It's tribal. It feels ancient, familiar to me. And the reason I go, like you can, and I've been going to the Go-Go for over 20 years. So anybody who knows me, like, yeah, if you go to the Go-Go and see Jay there, he's going to be right at the stage looking at the band. So I'm not there for the women. I'm not there to interact. I am there because of that frequency that music gives me. It reminds me of an ancient tribal time. And I've specifically asked them, like, please just give me a chance, like say anything positive. You got 2 45-minute sets, sometimes 3 45-minute sets, and all of the sets, you know, to be quite honest, are filled with bullshit. Like they crank like sonically, but everything that comes out of the microphone is horrible. It's horrible, you know, and that's just being honest, you know, about when I go to the Go-Go, because, and I can say that because I specifically go to get like a charge that I need. Like I don't get it from anywhere else but Go-Go music. But I've never, you know, other than like, same thing with hip hop, like in the 80s, you know, there were like some positive or uplifting, you know, words or chants. But like, you know, since I've been going to the Go-Go since the 90s, the mid 90s, it's all been horrific content. And, you know, and it has shown in the culture of our city. That's true.
Yeah. So your question to him, Brittney, though, was that asking him if he thought that the music is the thing that should change in that cycle. Did you mean as opposed to the people making the change and then the music having to reflect that?
Yeah, because people, even though there's exaggeration, like you talk about in hip hop too. Like I'm not as familiar with Go-Go, so I talk hip hop. But I think people are talking about things that either they've seen or they've lived through, and then so what has to change?
Yeah.
And then now, at this point, if the music does change, people are going to gravitate towards like that type of music anyway.
Well, you know, it's interesting all this comes up because, you know, we've been organizing in my community for the past month or so, ever since 11-year-old Day got murdered around my way. And it's funny because, you know, we've been organized, so each week we have music.
Yep.
And so it's interesting that subconsciously, without us even thinking about it, when the music's playing, every like 2 minutes, somebody like, oh, turn that off. You got to change that. So it's like the music that we love and listen to, we recognize how horrible it is because children are outside and we don't want our children to listen to it. So it's like that's a telltale sign without even thinking real hard that, yo, this is terrible because we don't want our children hearing these words, but it's the acceptable mainstream music that the world is listening to. But now that there's so much death and murder on our doorstep and it's so constant, like with social media and all of the news stories, like it doesn't seem as cool to be talking about busting a nigga head all the time when you're at a place organizing around you wanting the busting niggas in the head to stop. So it's like the music isn't making as much sense.
But I think also we're older now, right? So maybe like a decade ago, it wasn't like we were more less conscious ourselves, right?
Right.
Then you, like 10 years go by, now you older, and now you think differently about like what you want in your space.
That's true, and that's exactly what I was, because you know, I was thinking about how, but I think it affects people differently too, because when I was young, like I was Bone Thugs and Harmony head, yo, like every song I knew all the words to it. I could recite it forward and backwards. I was a huge fan. I tried to grow hair, but that didn't work. But yeah, I said it to say, like, I never wanted to shoot anyone. Never wanted to even, like, I don't even smoke. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just didn't appeal to me. But the music, and I think it was more about the art and how it was packaged for me, just because, you know, my history with music and stuff, it's but it never affected me in that way. But I've also seen people who were directly affected by music and wanted to do things based on music, and there are certain things that I think have influenced me. I think it's more like maybe, you know, clothing or like maybe decision stuff, but not, you know, not an attitude of like I'm a killer or anything like that. But I have, you know, some people do get emboldened in that way. So I think like you said, it's right. It's once we become more conscious of that and get older. Like I listened to Bone Thugs recently, and I was like, this is
some wild shit.
They killed everybody. Like nobody survived their second album. everybody's
like,
dead now. So.
This weekend, I don't know if that's on your list, but there was a conversation about Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Go ahead. Yeah, let's get into it.
And then I saw this video. I didn't watch it, but it was the headline of this YouTube video. Like, is Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion training our young girls to be thoughts? And I was like, I think that's a hell of a thing to put on them.
Yeah, because they've been trained.
And I grew up with Lil Kim and Foxy Brown, and I never once wanted to like.
And that's true. So what? Well, go ahead with your point, and then I'm gonna ask you a question.
No, I was gonna say I never felt like I wanted to be either one of them, but I enjoyed them for like who they were, and I feel like that's a hell of a thing to put on like two young girls.
Right,
like it's your fault that all this shit is happening.
Yeah. Like, and I mean, so I feel like what they do contributes to it, but I don't think that. Like you said, it's tough to put like the blame on them, but what attributes to like all of the things that are happening now, like stripper and literally prostitution culture has become, like prevalent, has become mainstream.
And I guess to quote a lot of women, empowering.
Well, yeah, I saw a post earlier too that said that stop, equating like being a thought or a hoe with being in
sexual freedom.
Yeah, with sexual freedom or empowerment. If you want to be that, it's fine to be that, but don't mistake it with sexual freedom because there's a line.
There is a line. And I think that because women have been oppressed for like a long time, right? Women want to be like, nah, we're like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. If I want to like shake my ass and show my titties, like, that's what I'm gonna do, right? And I think it's the same thing with Black people. We've been oppressed for so long that we want our freedom. It's not making white people comfortable. So I think when women do it, it even makes other women uncomfortable. And even like when Black people do it, right? You say like Black people go, nah, this is what we doing. Like we fighting against the system, and even Black people go, shh.
Whoa, chill.
Right? Yeah. Like, yo, what's all that Black stuff?
All lives matter, okay?
Right. Exactly.
Like,
that's a great point. And that's an aspect, Jay. I don't think we would have even thought about if not, the amount of oppression and how that plays into. Like I always say, it's whenever. A wrong is righted to a certain extent, there is a certain level of overcorrection that happens.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like
then
so,
it balances.
and then it balances. So we just kind of in that state right now where everywhere people, because Jay and I were talking about how, like how strongly the song is defended by women.
A WAP.
Who would in any other situation probably not be as defensive. Right. About something that that out there,
but there's something about that it caused this much of a stir. Like there's something other. It's not just the song or the lyrics. It's something else there to me that it caused this much of a stir.
That's an interesting point. I mean, because it's like I definitely agree with the people who say, we listened to stuff that was provocative and stuff, and maybe it's that we've reached that level of maturity, so we see it, and the kids don't. So they're like, what? The younger people don't. So they're like, what's wrong with it? She's just saying she has wet. What's wrong with that? Mom, and that's another. It's like, is there a responsibility to do artists have a responsibility? And this is like an age-old question. How much of that responsibility lies on the parents, and then how much of it can they take? Seeing as though stuff like Jay Mills had posted about. She was upset that there was a radio version of the song. It's like that's not for the radio. It's like this isn't something that should be. Something that's accessible by people who aren't mentally ready to handle the ramifications of what that song is, right?
But that's not the first song of its kind.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, but that doesn't make it right, though, right?
No, but if you're gonna have that conversation, why start?
We got to talk about all of it because where
to
start it?
Because that's what's out
where
now.
To start it? Yeah.
I mean, just to answer that specific question, like why I started now, because that is the one that just came out that everyone's viewing right now.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not the first of its kind. Like
right, and I definitely agree with that. So it's a tough.
But I don't even think that's the argument, though, whether it's the first of its kind or not. I guess, it's kind of like highlighted.
Now? Is it because we're in quarantine and, there's not, the focus has been kind of like on these touchy topics or?
Well, I think a lot of it, too, is that we got to understand, like, all of these songs, including like these dumbass male rappers, are controlled by white, record labels. And there is an agenda. Of course. And it's not even hidden. There is an agenda to I guess delve into the minds and spirits of Black people in particular and have some type of control over our outlook of ourselves. And there's an agenda, by every record label. Like there are meetings, that discuss like specific agendas, specific words, lyrics, colors, what I'm saying, symbolism that keep the mind of a demographic that you want to control in place and in alignment with a certain, framework that fits the society's comfort level. So they're no different than these dumbass songs by like Future and, all these other like male rappers that have horrible music that are very popular.
But I think also the responsibility is on the record label, right? That's like a direct byproduct of the system.
Exactly.
But then you have someone like Rhapsody who put out an album, I think, last year. And then it doesn't, then people don't, not that people don't want to listen to her, but that type of content where it requires you to think a little bit more. It's like a little bit more cohesive. It's not just the then people don't gravitate towards that. So then we have a responsibility too to like put that music in the forefront.
I agree.
And not just talk shit about the ones we don't.
Well, I think that Rhapsody, there was an effort to kind of get it there, but I don't know if it's like the age of people, like why they gravitate toward the train wreck, right? Why they gravitate toward the most controversial and the most negative.
I was going to say that. I think Cardi B, I don't even think people care so much about the sexuality. I think people are drawn to her audacity, like the fact that she has like the guts to even do this shit. Like, the fact that, did you really say that? I think that's the part that makes women feel more empowered. I don't really think it's the product of what she's doing.
So in your opinion, is that just like, should they be feeling empowered by it? And I'm just asking the question. I'm not saying they shouldn't.
Say whether people should or shouldn't. I think that's very individual.
Okay.
But for a woman who maybe like has those thoughts or like doesn't want to share them, to see someone else do that on a mainstream level, maybe I couldn't say no.
Okay.
I didn't feel empowered. I feel like I was already sexually like empowered.
Right, yeah. Well, yeah, you're you, so you're good. You wrote a book about opening your mind before you open your legs.
Oh shit.
So you're fine. You'll be good. But I mean, I worry about people,
like younger girls.
I wonder, just because there's people who are still building that understanding of the world. And
but what is that song gonna make you do? I understand the subconscious lyrics and everything, but like, what is that song gonna make you do?
I think that seeing it, just like the people who I talked about who listen to Bone Thugs or listen to the rap, and some people, it puts them in a position to be more. What's the word I'm looking for? It puts them. It gives them more carte blanche. It gives them more of a feeling of empowerment to do things that they shouldn't. Anyway,
what shouldn't they do though?
The younger people, like people under a certain age, shouldn't be.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I saw a little girl yesterday dancing to it and had like these things around her breasts. Like kind of like cupping her breast.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
And they were dancing to the song.
On Instagram?
No, on the street, outside.
So what's
in real time.
What's the limit?
So it's like, I guess that's cool according to.
Remember when Lil Kim went to like, I think it was the MTV Awards.
Yeah, with her titty out.
Like, I was a kid when that happened. I was like,
and I get it because I was like, when hardcore came out, I got that album like almost immediately.
Every guy did.
And it didn't have anything to do with the music. I get that sex is a huge marketing tool.
Yeah.
And like Jay said, not only is the industry that is producing this stuff run by white people, but it's also male dominated.
Sure,
it's what we want to see. Because I mean, I don't know if that.
I don't want to see that, bro. Like honestly.
Well, I mean, but I'm
sure most men do.
The dominant, and I wonder how much say they had in the direction of the video and how it went. How it was.
I think that there's also, like, back to the point about the woman being oppressed. I think women also make those choices for themselves to be explicit and to be
exactly.
Like I've heard Cardi B be like, I wanted this song to be nasty. Like, you can't just put that on a record label, like, have this direction. Like, women come up with these concepts and like, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to put out.
I mean, I don't believe she has control of her mind at this point, and that's just subjective to my thought process and just being in the industry and understanding how it works from a internal position. I really don't think she is as self-empowering as people think. I think she is being controlled and manipulated in a certain level, and that that's just based on stuff that I feel. I'm not basing that on any facts, and it's just an opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's really coming up with anything herself at this point in her career. And I think that started back when she was on reality shows and got the alley-oop to get a recording contract. And, so I think like there were deals made in regards to guarantee her success. So a certain line that she has to walk in order for her to, live the lifestyle that she wants. And I think she has very minimal control and empowering decision-making in her career. And that's just subjective to my thoughts. So don't at me.
They gonna at you anyway.
But I'm just saying, it's like, I'm not saying that's the truth. I'm just saying I'm
allowed
me and be
to
like,
have. Your nigga Jay crazy. What's wrong with him?
But it's like a lot of people haven't worked in the industry.
Right.
So it's like there's a different insight and to be at those executive meetings and understand the agendas and understand like how deals, like what are in contracts and so there's a lot of intangibles that people may not or may know and understand, which is why I just keep that subjective to my opinion.
Okay. Cool. So I want to move on because I don't want to stay on this too long because I have another situation that I want to talk about and ask you guys a question about it specifically, and it has to do with the Washington football team. The Washington football team, which is their official name now. I'm very proud of that. Anyway, the Washington football team running back Darius Geis was officially released last week after he turned himself in amidst domestic violence allegations. The 23-year-old faces 3 counts of assault and battery, 1 count of destruction of property, and 1 count of strangulation, which is a felony in Virginia, where the charges.
Oh, yeah, in Virginia?
Yeah.
So Loudoun County or something. I saw that.
Yeah, Loudoun County. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, he tell you, we say Loudoun County. Anyway, but the team released an official statement via their social media, which read, "On Thursday, we learned of a potential domestic violence related incident involving Darius Geis. We immediately alerted the NFL and have continued to work with them through this process. We then met with Darius and informed him that he was excused from all team activity pending a review of this matter. This afternoon, which was Friday, I believe, they learned that there were multiple charges filed against him, and upon review of the nature of the charges and following discussions, they have decided to release Darius immediately." Now, they released him less than 2 hours after he turned himself in. So I've had a lot of conversations with friends of mine. We talked about the nature of, I hate to say cancel culture, but just how that process happens, how it's so different from the way the American process was supposed to be set up, where it's innocent until proven guilty. And not saying that I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I have no idea. My question is, if a company, does a company have a responsibility to cut ties with someone based on allegations? And before you answer, I understand situations in which, so for instance, like a police shooting. If a police shoot somebody, or if they're accused and there's no video or anything, there's no hard evidence, and it's their word against the person, or or the police brutality, and it's their word against the person. I understand taking them out of, I guess circulation, taking them off the street until they figure things out. But to fire someone before they're convicted of a crime or before it's even proven that they did it, should companies be able to do that? So
I think sports is handled differently than than other types of corporations. So that's true. Well, no, because I mean, at the end of the day, they the Washington Redskins is a company.
Football
they
team.
Make
money. They trade, stocks. They bring in millions of dollars on a year.
It's set up differently than
Yeah.
No, it's not set up differently. Their business structure. The business structure is not set up differently.
So it's still a company. It's like,
but where you work would not do that. They don't have the eyes on it like a NFL team, like a major league team.
So, but also, I mean,
you don't think the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, Hockey League, they don't handle things differently than
it's people who work for. So let's say the people who in the situation where people have been, I guess, caught doing. Well, I guess it's different though. But people have been caught doing like things that are considered racist, and then the companies fire them or like distance themselves from them. So it's the same kind of like. I mean, companies do take that. Stance to separate themselves, or like and like with TV personalities and music, which is kind of in that same
I understand what you're saying.
Arena where there's that level of. But even there, should they be able to to terminate their affiliation with someone based on allegations that haven't been proven?
Well, the racist stuff is different because
it is, and there's a whole nother level to it.
Well, not just because those instances are like caught on camera, so that's the NFL to me seems like the way they do things is very backwards. Because Ben Roethlisberger has been in the NFL for a long time, and he was like sexual assault allegations.
And I've always highlighted that contradiction too, because that's my football team. And,
Steelers.
Yeah, and I've always highlighted that. Like, but yo, what about him?
Yeah.
I've always said that since that happened, and like no one really even talks about that.
Yeah, well, I think they give, and it's there's a certain level of leeway that's given to people who are good at what they do.
That's what I was. That's why.
Okay.
That's why I was asking about like sports, because
how it's handled.
Sports are athletes are idolized in our
exactly.
culture, right? So if you're like star quarterback on your like team and does something, you're gonna handle that differently than if like your wide receiver who's not doing shit.
Or if you're white, because
if you're white.
Yeah, because I mean, because you look at like Mike Vick, who was made an example out of, and then you look at Ben Roethlisberger, who did much horrible crimes, much more,
horribler is the word.
Much more horribler. You know what I'm saying? But and it's not even discussed at all. He didn't lose one check. He didn't miss one practice. He didn't. You know what I'm saying? So it's just. Yeah, it's just the contradictions.
I think if the standard is the same across the board, then I think it makes it a little bit easier of a conversation. But I think the rules change depending on.
Okay, so with the way the rules are though, so let's talk specifically about football. Should they be able to do that? You think because of the visibility, the level of visibility of the person?
I don't know how the Washington football team.
Thank you.
Has handled things.
Yeah, I have to laugh so hard.
Has handled things in the past. I don't have nothing to really go up against it. Like, is that standard for them to release players based off domestic violence?
Well, I think now, and that's a good question, because the league as a whole has taken a lot of flack about the way they've handled domestic violence in the past. So I think that this is an effort for them to kind of show that they're zero tolerance and no nonsense now about it, because there have been reports of specific situations that have happened where they've kind of looked the other way and been like, hey, you deal with that as long as you keep throwing that ball. You deal with that how you deal with it. But so now they're trying to be more so I mean I feel like that kind of plays into it, just because
so do you think that they should be like, you think there should be like a counseling, you're saying, is that what you're talking about, the analogy to like police officers who are violent with the community, they take them off the beat and kind of have them doing administrative things? You think there should be a process like that?
And I think that's what they were originally doing, where they excused him from team activities, but he wasn't fired, and I think that that's more of the feasible thing to do, just because honestly, there are situations in which sometimes things aren't, what they seem, or it may be a situation that's different. And I don't think that's the reason I asked that question is the ultimate conclusion that I would come to through these conversations is like, I don't know if that's for your company to decide. Like, there's legal ramifications that then will dictate your company's, like, if you obviously did it, you're going to jail, so you can't come to work, so you can go ahead and fire.
Yeah.
But if you're innocent and somebody's vindictively doing this, or for whatever reason it's a misunderstanding, whatever happens, if that comes out, then you have to go through the process of trying to get your job back and things of that nature. And it's just, and then you're always to a certain extent labeled a certain way after, like once that bell is rung, it can't be unrung. It's like somebody somewhere is like, that nigga did it, and so it's a tough thing. And I just want to know if you guys,
What do you think, Jason?
Did I stop the prolific Brittney Presley?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer.
Yeah,
it's a tough one, right? And that's what I kind of came to too. So I'm glad that somebody smarter than me came to it. So go ahead, Jay. Would you?
No, I mean, to be quite honest, I don't care, because I don't.
That's his answer to a lot of things.
Well, just because I don't put any trust and faith in these institutions, in organizations, in anything outside of what I'm affiliated with, to do what's right, to do what's just, to do what is, deemed as equal and fair. I think because they're corporations built off of like, most $1 billion and $1 million corporations in this country are built off of like slave labor or somebody's murder or somebody's oppression or somebody, you know what I'm saying? So to look for righteous behavior in certain institutions or in certain people, I just don't put my time into that principally because I don't expect that from them. So like all of these slave trade sports organizations, I don't expect valor and honor and anything righteous from these people. Like if they do it cool and it works and it gets them their visibility that they need and it keeps their sponsorships and all of that. Like I understand the game, but I'm not necessarily looking like my heart and energy isn't invested in them like doing the right thing or operating their institution or organization in a just way. Like I don't have those expectations.
Okay. I don't so
it's like however they handle it,
good for them.
It goes. I don't care. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I can just be responsible. Like, with people and institutions and organizations that I know, I'm like, they need to do the right thing, and they need to be on this, the right side of this position. But with institutions that I feel are based in criminal background, I don't have. So when they do the right things, it's kind of cool. Like, oh, that's a good look. But it's like, I'm not, exactly. But I'm not invested in it or expecting it per se.
Yeah. I think it's up to each organization they have their own, I guess, hierarchy of what's important. So maybe some people like domestic violence is like horrible, but racism, not too bad.
Right. Exactly. That's my point. Like,
and that's based on what's popular at the moment. Like it has nothing to do with like the companies don't care about you. And I remember
think about like Me Too movement when that started. People were like very touchy. Like companies are oh no, we can. This is no nonsense. No. Then then racism becomes a thing.
And so now
and then like Starbucks is like we have to go to like training.
And just imagine like how many domestic violence incidents probably happened in the 60s and 70s. And it's like, when football players used to drink beer before the game and, they in
the 80s, they used to
but because there was probably no outrage, like people probably just allowed players to beat their wives or that was the culture. And there wasn't like a upheaval about it. But now in modern times, like, it's on people's minds, very similar to what you're saying about like the racism now. Like back in the day, people didn't care.
No.
But now that you can get in trouble and like they
want to save face for it.
Yeah, and they want to save money. If they feel like they're going to lose some type of money.
Margin.
So like that's why I don't invest my emotional energy in like, y'all need to do the right. It's like, whatever y'all do, man.
That's Jay in a nutshell there. Whatever.
Yeah.
But so talk about one more thing and then we got to get into the interview because I got a lot of questions to ask you. A lot of deep personal secrets to divulge here on the show today. All for the ratings. It's nothing personal. But I did want to mention, like I said, there's a lot of heavy stuff going on. The lawyers for Amber Geiger, the former Dallas police woman who murdered 26-year-old Botham Jean. Am I saying that right?
We know who you're talking about.
In his own apartment in 2018, the lawyers have filed an appeal against her murder conviction. Her attorneys are requesting that she should be acquitted completely of the murder charge for which she was sentenced for 10 years to 10 years in prison for, or that she get a lesser charge of criminally negligent homicide. Her lawyers are arguing that her actions were justified because she thought she was entering her own house. So perceiving a threat, she had the right to use deadly force. Even though she also had a taser and pepper spray at the time of the incident, her attorneys argue that police are trained not to use those non-lethal alternatives when their life is being threatened. And that's just
how is her life being threatened? He's sitting on the couch eating ice cream.
That's what I was saying. The threat.
So even if it was her house, right? Let's just give her that dumbass argument. Like if the nigga's in his drawers eating ice cream on the couch, like like it ain't like he was coming towards her or even acknowledged her.
Well, I think the threat was that that was her ice cream. She wanted to. I'm sorry. No, this is a terrible time.
Come on, Dave.
Sorry. I am sorry. But no. But I mean, it's foolishness. It's terrible. And this you could foresee that this whole course of action, the witness that that they originally had that said that he heard her knocking on the door and then arguing with both in. I hope I'm saying it right. But anyway, before the shooting, which directly contradicts her story that she just went into the house and saw him and started and, called out to him and, shot him or whatever. He was killed.
Yeah.
Right. He's gone.
So there's nobody to refute the claim that she thought she was going into her house now. So I feel like they were just stay in there long enough for everything to cool down.
Yeah.
We'll do the appeal and you'll be free. So
and they hugged her and fixed her hair and all of that. So it's like it's already some type of movement at work.
Yeah. So
what's your question about that? Should she?
Oh, well, I didn't really have a question.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kind of reporting the news on that one. Which is, I do that from time to time, too.
Oh.
That's why you got notes. See his notes.
If you wanted to answer a question
I don't have
about it, what do you think about it?
I think this let her stay in jail.
Yeah, she definitely should. But, of course, it's, this is the world and the system that we live in. So, 9 times out of 10, she'll be out pretty soon.
Yeah.
Walking the streets.
Her and all the rest of them.
Yeah, right. And it's like everybody's so gangster. Anyway, we're not gonna get into that. That's a darker. Let's get into this interview.
Okay.
Hi.
What's up?
How are you? Welcome. It's good to see you. It's been a while.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. You said nice to meet me.
Yeah.
I think we knew each other.
You starting at square one, so.
I'm just saying hi. That's all. Gosh. Overcorrecting. I don't know. No, but
I got real questions on there.
Yeah. I'm always write out the questions.
He's not playing. He's real.
For a living, kind of, not really. So I wanted to talk to you because I'm a big fan of your books and your social media affirmations that you put out and musings that you put out on a regular basis.
And what?
Musings.
Oh.
H-U?
I said music.
Music.
Oh,
no, you got music out too?
I thought you were telling me
she expanded during the quarantine.
Right.
Drop these bars.
I appreciate just the fact that you see the need for this information to be out there, and instead of I always say, it takes a certain type of person to see that need and not be like, oh, there's a need, and they just go on about their life, but to actually make an attempt to fill it with information and with wisdom and your insight, and so that's appreciated, and then it's entertaining too. I think that,
Thank you.
You're pretty cool. I've noticed too, before I get too deep into it, from your your posts and your pictures and stuff, you had a mean T-shirt game.
Oh, thank you.
I really appreciate the T-shirt because I'd like to the nice T-shirts myself.
I like to express myself through T-shirt.
Yeah, definitely.
Today.
Okay, Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, we got to talk about where you get your T-shirts from.
Oh, no, we can't talk about that.
A couple of secret places.
We can't talk about
I was going the T-shirt aficionado too. I was going to share some stuff, but that's all right. No, you don't have to tell me nothing.
Muhammad Ali, see?
No, see, nope. Don't look at it. No. Okay. But so I wanted to ask you about that insight that you shared. When did you realize that your insight could be helpful to others and, kind of decide to start sharing?
Like social media?
Yeah. Or even with the books too.
That was around 2012. I didn't look at it people need to hear what I have to say.
Okay, well, how does that seem? Because that seems like because why else would you put out a book?
Nah, well, technically, so at the time I graduated college in 2009.
Okay.
And then
from where?
Sacred Heart. It's in Connecticut.
Sacred Heart.
Sacred Heart.
Okay. And then I realized the 3 things that make us an adult that I was taught up to that point was getting married, having kids, buying a house. Mm-hmm. And I realized I didn't know how to maintain those processes. So I could physically have a kid, get pregnant, have a kid, but how do you raise a kid? I could physically buy a house, but how do you maintain a household? I could physically get married, but how do you maintain a healthy marriage? So I just admitted to myself all these things I was taught I'm supposed to do to be an adult, I did not know how to go through with the process.
So it's that nobody thinks that, everybody just does it. Then when they get there, they're like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
I had that pause when I graduated, oh shit, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
That's just how I am with myself. I can be real with myself. So I feel everybody celebrates the bridal shower and the baby shower and the wedding, but no one talks about what happens after those celebrations are over. Right. So I just started I was just freaking out. I was having anxiety a lot at that time.
Okay.
And then the following year I went to grad school just to figure out how.
Where'd you go to grad school?
Oh, Quinnipiac. Do it.
I can't do it.
All right.
Quinnipiac?
What was it? Quinnipiac?
Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac?
Yeah.
Quinnipiac. That's an interesting.
Nope.
Did I say it wrong?
Yes.
Say it one more time.
Quinnipiac. It's one word.
Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac.
I feel like that's what
It's a tribe, Dave.
Quinnipiac.
Tribe, yeah.
Should I say it for Quinnipiac? Is it how fast you say it?
Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac.
No, don't do the I like that. Quinnipiac.
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 Oh, okay. So let it flow. Okay,
Yeah,
so I was putting the
Quinnipiac.
emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Syllable.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
Ain't you?
There you go. It was a joke. Go ahead.
I'm gonna just proceed so we can.
Yeah.
there you
Don't
go.
pass that.
Yeah,
We're
I don't
gonna
want
power through.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't mention colleges. I'll stop you every time.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay.
All right, so then that was 2010, and then I started moving away from like the party life. Like I was getting more mature, you know.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then
as we do.
yeah, and then so I started reading Deepak Chopra back then, a book of secrets. One of my friends gave it to me.
Nice.
Then I like rearranged my whole process of like how I thought about life. So it was more like, oh shit, I think if I'm confused about life, other people my age are probably confused too, and they just don't have the audacity that you're talking about to
Jump
like,
out
yeah,
there.
to
Right,
just-
right,
Got
or
right.
that
just
Cardi
admit-
B audacity.
Right. Yeah.
audacity.
Yeah.
Or just like to admit that they don't know what they're doing.
Right,
I felt
right,
if
right.
I was honest with myself enough. Then I started to feel responsible. Like I have this information, I should probably share it. That's how it started. It wasn't like I'm gonna be this like acclaimed author like Dave says.
It was a sense of responsibility.
Yeah, that's what that's what I felt. And it just turned into something else.
Right. So how did that sense of responsibility manifest itself into a book? Like, how did you decide? Okay,
Well, I felt at the time social media wasn't what it was now. So
Right,
people wasn't
right,
using
right.
like Facebook and Twitter. I mean, they were using it, but it wasn't the way we do it now.
Yeah, it wasn't as-
There's no apps on our phones back
Right,
then.
right.
People had Blackberries.
I think we had like what, Black Planet and MySpace.
No. At this time, it was Twitter was there, Facebook was there.
I was trying to take you back further
I
when
know.
I was in college.
Don't make me that old.
Right.
MySpace was like pre-09.
Right. Yeah.
MySpace is like 04,
That's what I
05.
said, pre-09.
Yeah.
He said that's a preview.
It was already done. It was already done.
Right. It was gone. You're right. I'm
I
sorry.
know what you're the one that said syllabi. I know what.
No,
what'd
it
you say?
was.
No, it was
It's a
syllabus.
joke about putting
Syllabus.
the emphasis on.
I got it. I got his HU humor.
Emphasis on the wrong syllable. You're doing.
Yeah,
it
he's
in
putting the emphasis on the wrong
get it?
thing on purpose.
So, okay.
They
go
might
ahead.
not teach that at Sacred
I
Heart,
wanted to
you
make
know what I'm
right.
saying? HU represent
They
your
just
shit,
don't teach
Dave.
the sarcasm. They
Yeah.
just say
Yeah,
straight with it. But go
I
ahead.
learned that by myself. So what were we talking about?
I have no idea. No, you were talking about. I was
Keep
saying.
talking
How,
shit. You messed me up.
I'm sorry. But talking about how that responsibility
how did it,
manifested into a
Oh
book.
yeah, I would just So social media wasn't what it was now. So the only thing I thought of was to just write.
Okay.
I was like writing poetry at the time, so
Okay.
it was just writing was on my mind at the time. It really wasn't some super well thought out thing. I was just I'm gonna write this down, and I just thought a book made sense at the time.
It's so interesting that the deeper, heavier things that people don't usually like catch or dwell on. Like we were talking about, like how when people graduate, they're like, oh, I'm supposed to get married, I'm supposed to have a baby. So people don't dwell on the fact that they don't know. So they don't really worry about it. They just go and do it.
Yeah.
But something like bringing out some literary work, they'll take their time and really. But you like it's the opposite. Like you focused on that stuff,
yeah.
but then the literary, you're like, yeah, I'm just do that. I'm just write a book.
No, I
gonna
know.
write a book.
Yeah, my brain
Whatever.
kind of works that way.
That's
But I was having
dope.
anxiety. I think that the anxiety triggered me to think.
Okay.
Like why am I feeling this way? Then I realized like, oh shit, I feel like I'm supposed to do these things and I don't know how to do them.
Makes sense.
It was just as simple as that.
You still feel like that?
No.
Okay.
No, this
You
is
got
like
a better grasp on-
this was a decade ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had to like
Okay.
spend time unlearning and relearning. So that took a long time.
That's
but,
a huge part of learning is unlearning.
and then we live in a world that our parents didn't grow up in. So
Exactly.
I think there are things that our
Exactly.
parents can help us with, but a lot of it is relevant to this world that we live in.
Right.
So they're gonna say, "Oh, they do this," and it's like, maybe 10, 20 years ago that
was
worked,
cool,
but that don't work now.
No. Yeah. Do you remember any of the poetry that you wrote? Spit a
I
poem. Go ahead.
I have a blog that I was using, like Blogspot. I think.
Okay.
I was just writing it there.
Oh,
And
okay.
I
So
don't
it's somewhere out there in the
Yeah,
Interweb?
It is there.
you can search and find it. I'm
Don't-
trying to
don't
find
go.
it. No, I'm gonna look. You shouldn't have said anything about it. but,
Interweb.
So that started you writing, and let's see. What made you start to share your thoughts and affirmations online? Like, I said, you moved away from the writing because the world is more visual. You were saying.
Yeah, and I didn't have anything else to. I think writing is limiting. Like once you write a book, you write it, but to talk
there.
about experiences
That
is
makes
different.
sense.
So
Yeah.
social media kind of picked up. I started using it around 2012 in this capacity. So I went from like
Right.
the drunk college kid to like quasi mature adult.
Okay.
So I just started,
Quasi mature.
Yeah, I was like, everybody's on social media, so I'll just start sharing things there.
Right.
And I just set intentions for why I use social media. That was like the only way I can get through it is to like set an intention.
Yeah, because it's
to,
so
like, being distracted by
it's
it.
so easily distracting. Like I'll get on there to do something, and then an hour later, I've seen all the cat videos and haven't done.
Ew, you watch
cat
videos?
videos
Well,
are great.
I was using that as a joke.
They are.
I don't.
You don't like cat videos? They're great.
You don't like cats. You're a dog person, is what it is.
But dog
dogs
videos are
cool,
great too.
But I like watching the videos of people get men get their edge ups. And I like.
What was that reaction, Jay?
What's the point? I like cooking videos. It's something very satisfying about like a fresh cut. I enjoy that.
I'm trying to like, Jay's face is just like, I haven't seen him make that face. I don't know. But anyway, let's go. Boy, it was just weird. His reaction to you saying that. That is very satisfying. I watch from time
You
to time.
guys watch cat videos. Like, don't be raising your eyebrows at mine.
I watch animal video. I like all animals.
Okay.
I'm an animal guy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Very animalistic. I don't know. But anyway, so you said you did write before the books, like you wrote, you were writing poetry. So that was kind of your introduction to it.
Yeah. Then I just took that into like, I took some of the poetry from the website and added it into the book.
Oh, okay, yeah, because there are some poetic pieces in the first book.
Yes.
And so the idea of the first book was just getting that information out there that you thought you were lacking at the time and that you picked up. Or
yeah, it was just like rearranging the process. So so it's called Loving Inward, Living Outward, Looking Forward. So for me, I felt
that's
like,
the first book.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I felt like I was like rearranging.
Available on Amazon right now.
Dave, you're such a great marketer.
Hey, I got your back. Let's go.
So I feel like the way I was taught was like, it was like everything outward. Like you look for happiness in the car and the job and the relationship and with the kids, the house. So I was like reversing it. Like no, I need to figure out like who I am for myself first. So that's where Loving Inward came out. I was like really like I was like changing the process of how I thought life was supposed to go. So as much as it might be affirmation for other people, it was for me too.
Okay.
Like if I reverse the way I was taught how to think and I do inward first, then outward next, then forward.
Okay. Yeah, and that's brilliant. And I think that that idea of seeking fulfillment outwardly is something that's like you said, came from that world before us. So it came from our parents and the people that came before us. Because it made me think of last week, the young lady that we had on here was talking about how before she, did what she became what she aspired to be, her original, dreams were to be a fashion designer. And she went to a guidance counselor at the school. And she told the guidance counselor, say, I want to study fashion design. And the guidance counselor told her point blank, don't do that. You won't make any money.
Wasn't that your guidance counselor too, Dave?
Yeah. Eastern. It was a lady named. No, I mean, because it bothered me because I remember her kind of being like that. Her name is Miss Sharp.
Wow.
Sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you, Dave.
She said it last week. She said her name last week, so I'm not the first one to do it. But shout out to Miss Sharp for ruining people's lives.
Right.
But no, she's good people. But I mean, because, and I say she's good people because that came from that notion of, because that was kind of what the world was at that time, or that's what they perceived it to be, even though even then it was an illusion, it was fake. That wasn't what it really was. And so we have, I think, our generation and beyond, to a certain extent, have had a better understanding of the fulfillment that comes the sustained fulfillment that comes from within.
Right.
And that's the only way to really sustain fulfillment is if it comes from yourself, as opposed to from things outside. So that's cool.
Even that's still a pretty foreign concept too.
Right.
Like if you tell someone like no one can make you happy, like getting married or being in a relationship is not going to make you happy. You have to be happy with yourself first. Like people be like,
well, you say that, but if she got the WAP, then it's, I'm just playing. I'm sorry. That's go ahead. No, okay. But go ahead. It was.
Nope, I'm done there.
You done?
Yeah.
You finished with it?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I didn't mean to mess up your train. Don't look to him for help. He can't help you.
I definitely can't help you.
I'm just kidding. The song is crazy. Do you have a favorite literary piece that you put out of the three that we have here?
I like Open Your Mind Before You Open Your Mouth. I wrote that to men.
To men.
Yeah.
And is that is there a reason, like, is it just because it's to men that you like it so much, or? No,
because I feel like, now men are talking about mental health. That conversation has become more prominent in our culture, like mental health,
right?
Like anxiety, depression, men being more present emotionally. Like, so I had that thought to have that conversation with men in 2016.
Right. It was you did it first.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And
Ray
Jay-Z
J.
came out at 444 in 2017.
Right. And everybody's praising him, and
nobody knew that I was.
Right. The book people.
So for me, that was more like it was a little bit more risky for me because I didn't know if like men would be open to that conversation in our culture.
Yeah.
So it was just more emotional for me to write because it felt like where do you start? Like as a woman, there's so many things you want men to know. Like how do you even approach that conversation?
And that brings me to my next question. With each of the books, but let's start with the one we were talking about. Open your mind before you open your mouth. What's the main idea that you want that you want men to take away from it, since it's written to men? That
men need to love themselves too, and that men need to change the way they view women. Right.
And that's the theme. I feel like, and I'm going to ask you if it is, but I feel like that's the theme of open your mind before you open your legs. Also, is that same concept, but to women, right?
Yeah, it's the same exact concept. Yeah, but it's just easier to talk to women because I talk to my girlfriends about So to talk to men is a little bit harder.
Yeah, so a little bit of the technical behind the scenes stuff. So the process of writing a book, and I know everybody has their own process, but for you, from inception to having a published copy in your hand, like about how long did the process take for you?
It's not gonna seem fair because I like once I'm on it.
Right, and that's why I said it's different for everybody.
Yeah,
but,
I think that I wrote all of them in a few months.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was just like I was like doing it not full. I was working still, but like on the weekends and stuff, I was like all on it. Okay. And then the process of publishing just takes longer. I don't remember.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it was a
little bit ago.
A little bit ago.
Throwback Thursday.
Yeah. So, so you talked about. Let me see. I lost my
another question. He didn't give you no set of questions.
I never have questions.
He just has them all for himself.
He just sits there. Yeah, he just listens to the.
When it's the interview portion, you just sit there.
Yeah.
So he just only asks you about like football and like racism.
Yeah.
Wow.
She summed it up. Yeah. I only asked you about.
Well, certain guests like I have questions that I want to, So there's no need for me. Yeah, this is his time.
Okay, I understand.
And then like if I need, I'm like, hold up, Dave.
Okay.
And he'll just how he does it too. Say, hold up, Dave.
So there's no pre.
Okay.
I
didn't want you to feel like the third wheel here.
No, but if he says something, I'm like, hey,
the trigger,
Okay.
Something. And he asks prolific questions. That's why I keep him around. I like him. And then he also is the social justice.
But right now it's just you and Dave. I'm just here.
All right.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure
because it's people on his live, all the ladies that follow him, and But anyway, so you talked about at the time that you were, producing the books that you were working. Is that something that have you given up work yet to be a full-time writer?
No, I don't think I will be a full-time writer.
Oh, okay.
No, okay. I think it's more like
social media influencer.
Nope. I don't feel as powerful on
tap
social
dancer.
media.
What are you gonna do? No,
I still work full-time, but okay. I don't feel like I don't want to be a social media influencer.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know.
But no, I was just saying because of your affirmations and stuff. But it was more like.
No, I'm just sharing there. My technically the brand is built like in real life. And I'm just sharing the.
Right, and so that's kind of part of the question. So you have this brand that you built with the books, with the social media posts. Like, what's the next step for that, or is there another step?
I know people keep asking for a podcast. It's just a little bit more difficult to set up. I know people just think like, oh,
it's not difficult. Come on, man, we're gonna talk about this after the show goes.
Yeah, it is a little bit more difficult to set up because you gotta make time for it. You gotta be consistent.
That's
with
true.
it. You
That's
have to,
true.
And it's, like I edit 1 minute videos. Now you gotta edit like an hour.
Yeah. The editing process is so grueling.
Yo, it takes me a minimum like 3 to 4 hours for one 1 minute video.
I definitely understand that. Yeah. And I edit these shows, which can be up to 2 hours long.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's a labor of love. Like if I couldn't do it for somebody else, like I do that because I love this.
You gotta really be like all in.
This show would not exist if it wasn't for Dave.
Right.
Because I ain't doing none of that shit.
Well,
because people want to put the content out, but then you also gotta like. Would you trust someone to like edit your own shit?
Nope.
That's what I'm saying.
Never.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
No way ever.
That's what I'm saying.
So yeah, it's but you're thinking like podcasts maybe, but it's
you're just taking the content to another level. I think that's kind of where the world is now. People are trying to create content, but it's just it's not just about putting the video out. You really got to package it. Think about who you're talking to, how you want like colors to look, all the
exactly, because everybody else. does. But I mean, I always tell people it's people who do a lot more with a lot less. So try not to think about that too much, just because. And I say that only because your brand of wisdom, I guess, is there's a need for it right now. Like there's a demand for it right now. Like the things that you portray, because everybody's looking for something. So many lost people out there right now. Everybody's looking for some kind of guidance, and you actually have genuine, guidance and like ideas and things. So I mean, I really believe that. Like your message is one that
go ahead, Dave.
Proliferated to the world.
Oh,
no, that's not a.
Ain't you?
But yeah, you should. So yeah, that's what I was asking. What's the so?
Yeah, probably just taking content to the next level. Okay. I would say that. And then I probably got to go back through those books and rewrite some of it.
Okay, yeah, because like you said, the book is kind of like a static moment.
Yeah, you can only give what you. Fluid. Yeah, you can only give what you want. So my perspective has evolved since I've written them.
Right.
So I wouldn't change everything, but I feel like I should go touch them back up.
Yeah, because things evolve and change. Definitely.
And then what's socially acceptable changes, like the way we talk, the cancel culture. I mean, I don't care about the cancel culture, but I'm just saying, like, you want to be like, if you want people to listen to you.
You got to speak the language. When in Rome.
Correct.
But so who are your literary influences, or did you have any, like, when you were writing and even throughout life?
I don't think about influence like more literally. I don't. Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah. I don't think of it literally like that. Yeah. Like I'm influenced by people who have the audacity.
Cardi.
Nah. I think I don't know if I have a literary influence. I like Maya Angelou. Okay. But I would say like I'm influenced by music more, like hip hop. So I would say one of my bigger influences is Angie Martinez.
Oh, okay.
You don't know about? Do you know her?
Yeah, she was the DJ on the radio, right?
Radio personality.
Yeah, personality.
She's still on the radio in New York.
She is?
And I'm from Connecticut, so I was listening to her since I was like 5 years old.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I remember her on Ladies Night.
Ladies
Night. Be Angie on the mind.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. So I feel like I don't feel like inspiration is like a one-to-one. I feel like it's just like so I'm inspired by like her personality, like her audacity, like the way the edginess to New York,
You and this audacity.
Yeah, we just gave her a new buzzword.
It's better than entanglement.
That's the name of your podcast.
Is it? I don't think it's better than entanglement. I rebuke that.
Just because entanglement is such a
the context already there though.
So it was. I don't know, but anyway, audacity. That's the name of your podcast.
Yeah. So, right. Yeah. Audacity.
Look at that. See, I spoke that into existence.
Indeed. I think Dave gets a credit though. How? I
came up with it.
Okay, no argument. You got it. I was trying, Dave. I was trying.
Anybody else, I might have said it, but it's Brittney, so she can have that one.
Okay.
So I want to ask you, because I can't even talk. But anyway, your book, Open Your Mind Before You Open Your Legs. The subtitle, I guess, is what they call it. The little in parentheses, I guess, it says, "What ladies should consider before intimately engaging." Yeah. Do you take your own advice?
I wouldn't have written it down if I wouldn't. If I didn't. Yeah.
Was there ever situations where you were like, "Dang, I should have listened to me"?
You mean when I was like the younger version of me?
Or even ever, but you always kind of follow your advice now?
No.
Like there's never a situation where you're like, "Oh, I didn't, do this one thing that I said to do."
No, but it's not like it's not as I know what you're asking. It's not like as rigid like that. Like my perspective is about just being honest with yourself.
Right.
So that's the goal.
Okay.
It's not like if you do this, then this will happen. If you do this, this will happen.
Right.
It's about being real. And I have set up in my life where if I have questions, I have friends I can ask. Cool. So if I have that pause.
Right.
Yeah. Are you out here just lying to us and like not doing what you said you're gonna do?
Right. Yeah. And that's I mean, what people want to know when you write a book, they want to know. It's like, no, I just wrote it because it was funny. I didn't.
No, yeah. I my perspective is like it's real. I listen to myself.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Take your own advice.
Yeah,
so you talked about the next phase of your brand, and Steve Harvey took his books and took it to a movie thing. And have you ever thought about maybe adapting your books into movie form? That wasn't even a thing. I don't know if he was the first one to do it, but a few years ago, taking like nonfiction, like actual informational books and adapting to movies, and now.
Yeah, not nonfiction, because How Stella Got Her Groove Back was one, and Waiting to Exhale. But if they felt kind of nonfiction.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know if I would go that route. I haven't thought about it. That would be
that out there into the atmosphere.
Yeah. You got that would take a hell of a narrative though.
Yeah. And to be able to play all of the stuff into
because it's not really characters. Steve Harvey kind of introduced some character, kind of like there's a man who does this and he acts like this.
Right. Yeah.
No.
So that made it.
I don't know.
You know, yeah, it gave it more.
I don't limit myself to the books. To me, like there's it's like a phase thing. It's like
okay.
I wrote those. That's how I felt at that time. Now I have I put out video content. Right. That's just where I'm at now. So I don't limit myself to I wrote these books and I have to do something. Like I'll do something with them. Yeah. I don't feel like I have to
Yeah, but not only the books though, even the video content that you put out, because I mean those are.
It's all connected because it's still my perspective. So it's just an evolution of my.
Yeah, definitely.
The way I think.
Definitely. So yeah, we need to start thinking about the next level of your evolution.
Yeah, I know.
We need to start thinking about the next level.
I told you, give Dave his cut, man.
So I want to ask you about so you already kind of talked about starting the process and how it came. It was extremely organic and just kind of you noticing that need within yourself and then sharing it with other people. So the people out there who are aspiring to be writers, who are actually working on trying to get a book published and it's their dream to do that. Do you have any advice for them? What would you tell them? Because the hardest part of any journey is that first step.
Right.
Is what they say. So what was your first step and what advice would you give?
There's advice from one of my college professors. He said, let me see if I remember it correctly. Write until you think. Don't think until you write until you think. Let me see if I say that again. Don't think until you write until you think.
Yeah.
So just start writing. I took that advice when I started. Because a lot of times people they're trying so hard to put everything into this concise piece, and then you just have to start writing some ideas down. You don't have to have chapter one. Chapter one will come together organically.
Right.
Yeah, just start writing. And I would say, and then know whether you want to self-publish your book, whether you want a publishing deal, because that's going to dictate the next part of the process.
How did you do it? Did you have a
self-publish?
Okay, you self-published.
Yeah, I wanted to have my own intellectual property.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool.
I mean, I wouldn't be against a book deal later on, but it would have to be set up correctly.
Well, for you.
Yeah,
definitely. So the self-publishing process, I know current technology has made it a lot easier than it was before. Right. You had to have a printing press, I think. But now you can kind of get it out there. There's digital copies, and then you can get your
people do ebooks too. I like physical books. I don't really like ebooks myself.
Okay, so is your content available in ebook?
Yeah, I have ebooks.
Okay,
but I on Amazon, but I don't like reading them myself.
Okay.
I don't like reading ebooks. Rather, I like physical books. So
it's something about it. I don't need I've tried to get into it. I got the Google version of the books on my phone, and I downloaded a few. But it's something about not turning the page.
You don't read books.
Well, Playboy is a book.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry.
Comic books are books. It's right in the name, comic book. No, but yeah, there's something about physically turning the page and stuff like that you miss with that whole,
But but every writer has to determine, as far as the advice goes, you got to figure out: do you want a physical book? Do you want just the ebook? That will determine
decisions. Yeah, that you have to make. Do you have audiobooks? Do you read them?
No, I don't. I don't like audiobooks either.
You would have to read it and just read the whole thing. You could read your own book, right? And just tape it and send it to people.
Oh yeah, I mean, people have asked me for that, but I haven't. I'm just not there yet. I don't even like listening to them. For me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Other people's.
Yeah,
I guess it's all preference. I just like reading them. I don't like reading books.
Oh, okay.
People get fancy. I don't like audiobooks. That's they take a long time.
The audiobooks?
Yeah.
It takes longer than reading it yourself?
I think so.
I've never done the audiobook thing, so I have no idea. Yeah. But yeah. I mean,
some people like it, I guess especially if it's in your voice and people have a connection to your voice.
Right.
But yeah, I'm good for now.
Okay. So yeah. All right.
Looks like you ran out of questions. All right, guys.
But no, I do want to ask you. So there's a question that I always ask all of our guests.
Here we go.
And I always enjoy. I probably asked you.
I was about to say. I remember you asking her this the last time.
Oh, okay. What was her answer? Don't tell it. Oh. You might
Maybe I have a different.
Yeah, she's different. Yeah. She's evolved. What's the word?
I've evolved into having
the Cardi word.
Audacity.
But she has new audacity now.
Yeah. So looking back at young Brittney Presley. Let's say you're about 13 years old. Now you've lived, you've grown, you've gained audacity. So with everything that you've been through, all the wisdom that you had, if you had the chance, the ability to go back in time and have a conversation with young Brittney Presley, what would you say to yourself?
13.
At 13.
I was in high school.
Okay.
What would I say to myself? It's a good question. I'm gonna just talk out loud while I'm thinking, Dave.
Yeah, don't think till you talk. Talk till you think.
Exactly.
That's right, Dave.
That's really good to like bring that back.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to think. Like a lot of people say, I would say don't care about what people think. But
Yeah, it doesn't have to be profound.
I definitely didn't give a shit at 13.
Right, yeah. I've had the only one person I can't. Who was it that was like, I wouldn't say anything. I probably listened to what she had to say to me, and I was like,
I was gonna say that too, but I was trying to go a different route because I feel like I probably said that last time.
I don't remember.
Was it you that said that you wouldn't say anything?
It probably was me. That's how I feel. I wouldn't say anything. So one, I don't know if I would have listened. I was, a little more hard headed at that.
Even
age.
To yourself though.
Yeah, but
if you
I
came
like
back?
how I turned out now though.
Yeah, you're pretty dope.
So I don't know that I would say anything to my 13-year-old self. There probably are things that maybe like in certain situations I would have said, but I cannot think of them at the current time.
Okay.
What would you say to your 13-year-old self, Dave?
Nobody's ever asked me that.
Oh my gosh.
It's like
no one cares about you.
Right, nobody cares about what I would say. I have no idea. I'd say
stay away from that dude next door.
Well, no, he smokes the reefer. No, but I would it would probably be like I think from maybe like the age like that I came into understanding, kind of started to understand like how the world was and stuff. There was a lot of fear, like in a lot of ways. At that time, up until like maybe 15 or 16, my life was pretty much dictated by fear. So it would be like, stop being a bitch, nigga. It would be like, get out of there, come on, man, because it's stuff we got to do that we could have did years ago. That I could have done. But so yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and so I'm ready now. I don't think I've ever asked the other Jay. What would you say to younger Jay?
You've asked me before.
Did I ask you? What did you say?
I don't remember, but yeah,
now what would you say? Like knowing everything you know now.
What's the word?
Audacity.
In the spirit of audacity.
That's your name now. It's not even Brittney anymore. It's Audacity.
So I guess today, answering that question, I would probably quote an author by the name of Neely Fuller. And if I was talking to my 13-year-old self, I'd be like, if you don't understand racism and white supremacy, nothing else will make sense to you.
And your 13-year-old self would be like, what the hell is this old dude talking about?
I was on that when I was 13, because I remember when I was 13, I also was in high school. I was at Carroll, and I was having a real tough time understanding like the culture of authority. Like I was having a real tough time understanding like my white teacher teaching me religion. And me, I remember these things vividly, and like me getting in trouble, like being in the principal's office all the time, my mother having to come up to the school all of the time. And I'm like, yo, man, it's something up with them. But I couldn't pinpoint what it was. I couldn't pinpoint like my frustration and confusion, which made me seem like a problem student.
Yeah.
But it's like the problem was like these people shouldn't be teaching me this information. Like this information is false. It's not connecting, and y'all blaming me for not being receptive to miseducation and misinformation. So I think if somebody older than me would have pulled me to the side and been like, look, man, you're going to run into these issues because of this. That's why you don't understand what's going on. I think that would have been helpful for me. Yeah.
Interesting.
But I have something now.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, it gave you time.
I need some stimulation.
Yeah, it gave you the audacity to, okay, we're going to leave audacity alone. We don't want to overplay it before.
No, actually, I realized that you were talking about fear too. And I used to get in trouble in school too for being disruptive.
Yeah.
And really, I was just bored with it was just bored. You told me Christopher Columbus.
Because they teaching you BS and you know it.
Discover America.
This doesn't feel right. It's like, are you sure?
I think when I was 13, something I was afraid of like relationships with guys. Like I thought the seriousness of
you should have been at 13.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
I'm sorry.
I thought that as a, like back in the day when women were, I guess more oppressed. I just saw women like tiptoeing around men, being like insecure. Like women just didn't have the audacity.
There you go.
To bring it back, not to be their self.
Right.
I felt like I was like fluid with guys, just talking like casual, and we can exist in like a gray area. So if you ask me to be your girlfriend, I was like, oh, that sounds too serious.
That's so interesting.
Because I thought that what made women turn themselves down in relationships was the formality of it. I'm talking like older women, like
right.
Married, so I was afraid of this formality. And I think if I were to go back, I would tell myself like that's them, and like you're you, and there's nothing to be afraid of. But I didn't understand that, so it kind of protected me in a little bit. In a lot of ways, because I didn't like jump off the deep end. Right. That pause, like,
I don't want to be that.
Yeah, but like we can do everything that we're like go to movies, go to the mall. But like, as far as this whole like girlfriend thing, I was like, that sounds too serious for me.
Right. And I don't want to be, you know I wish a homemaker immediately. Like,
I wish I would have had somebody like that was older than me, like an older woman, explain like. Yeah. I don't know if I would have understood it at 13, but that would have been helpful to me. I
think you could find a way though to explain it to yourself, because understanding who you were at that time, you may be able to find a way. Like what Jay was saying.
Like not all women not all women get into a relationship and change. It's affirmed through like when you get to high school, girls want to like go with their boyfriend now. They want they stop hanging out. Like damn, so when people get in relationships, they change who they are. They don't have fun no more.
But it's just a different kind of right. And I understand it's just a different kind of fun that they're having.
Or they just don't have they don't have the balance between like
right.
Out with your friends, have your boyfriend on, like not on the side, but like you do hang out with both. I feel like people were just women were so imbalanced back then.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see to get the understanding that and realizing that it would have to be that way though, that women to a certain extent see the world through the lens of that inequality, that oppression, just like we as black people see the world through the lens of our oppression. And that's just I always feel like as a man, I always feel like, or sometimes, when these revelations come about, I always say, this must be what white people feel like when they find out, oh, really, y'all are oppressed?
Yeah.
This is happening?
Right. They're like, what? Oh, my gosh. Police killed that guy because he was black. Oh,
right. I've been told they weren't. They're just doing their job.
Yeah, he was resisting.
That's what you're telling me. He wasn't resisting. Well, I see it on the tape. It doesn't look like he's resisting. But, and I always kind of feel like that. It's just interesting to have, specific examples of women seeing life through the eyes of through the lens of
when you're a young woman, you're looking at the behavior of older women.
Exactly.
And that's where you're getting content.
Exactly.
Not content. That's where you're getting information from. So for me, when I was younger, I was like, oh, I don't like that, because I want to be myself. I want to still have fun with my friends. I want to still like have balance. And I just hadn't seen that. So I thought like, oh, so when you get in a relationship, then the balance stops. You're not yourself anymore.
Yeah. So and it's tough. Like I think for. I was gonna say women, but for young people, of all genders, because where they would get the idea of that balance would be from, in the house. Yeah, in the house, and so family, if it's not there,
the world wasn't really set up like that back then either.
Right. Yeah. And so, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that sure is.
That would start a whole nother show. So you got to come back again,
for sure,
a whole bunch of times and hang out with us some more. This has been as fun as I thought it would be. It's always good to see you.
Same here.
And have you come through and kick it with us. I'm a huge fan of your, your wisdom and your intellect that you garnered at such a young age. You know what I'm saying? And that you share with the world. So, and I appreciate you for it.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, definitely. And Jay, you're cool too.
Thanks, Dave.
I don't know why, but you are now. But on behalf of myself, Super Dave, aka Mr. Incredible,
Super
Jay's son, DC's native son,
and
the greatest literary contribution to the greatest author of our time. But a really dope author though. Check out her books. Let me go back through this one more time. And as a matter of fact,
Dave's looking out for you.
I know. I appreciate that.
So what are they called now? This one is
Loving Inward, Living Outward, Looking Forward.
And then that was followed by
Open Your Mind Before You Open Your Life.
Wait, you got to say the critically acclaimed.
Oh.
And then the follow-up to that one was
Open Your Mind Before You Open Your Mouth.
And where can they find these books?
All on Amazon.com.
Hey.
You can type in Brittney Presley though.
Yeah, that's
BR.
what you search you on Google and stuff. There's an actress that comes up.
I see
too,
that.
But we gotta get her out
Yeah,
the way.
I
We
gotta use
take
that
her out.
SEO to remove her.
Yeah, get her out the way.
Yeah.
But your daily, or not daily, but your affirmations and your video
That's so
content.
funny
if
you
people
call them
wanna see-
affirmations. I don't think of them that way.
Yeah, I mean, but it's affirming. Like people see that and be like, she is right. I am affirmed. I have the audacity now. But but yeah. So if people want to see that or follow you on social media, where can they find you?
Instagram is Brittney Presley. Is my name gonna be on this?
Yes, it
Okay.
will be spelled out
So
correctly.
okay,
I hope.
perfect.
They
and
be
then
editing.
then once Instagram, there's a link to like Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff.
Okay.
YouTube,
Okay. So yeah, start with Instagram
for
and
sure.
see everything else. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thanks for having me,
Yeah,
Dave,
so-
Jason.
Hey.
Yeah. This has been another episode of Neighborish. Join us next week when we will have the audacity to talk about some more stuff and make you laugh and entertain and things. He did that's the patented Jason XL. Every show I tell a
Every
joke,
bad joke.
yeah, that gets the patented Jason XL.
He's
And I
not
don't stop.
entertained.
I just keep pounding. I'm gonna get because I make him laugh more. I think than he does the XL. I believe. It's probably balanced.
Overestimating yourself.
I don't know.
I had
We'll
too-
go
I had
with it,
too much
Dave.
audacity.
I'm feeling good today. We'll go with
All
it.
right, I appreciate that. All right, thank you guys for watching. Peace.
Peace.